Hi everybody, this is Julissa. Thank you so much everyone for coming back to my channel. Thank you so much to everybody who's listening in the podcast. Today is Sunday, November 17, 2024. I hope everybody's having a great day. Before I continue though, I wanted to thank you everybody for following me on Spotify and everybody who has been subscribing on YouTube. This episode is another sad story, you guys. Um, Imagine yourself being in danger, right? And like I always tell you guys, your life can change at any moment. So you find yourself in this unfortunate situation and you call out for help, right? To protect yourself, to protect your family. And when the help shows up, right? When the police shows up, they actually shoot at you instead of the assailant. So this is the story that I'm going to tell you guys about. It's about a, a a dad who lost his life when their house was being assaulted by a home invader, and the family calls for help, right? Calls for the police, and then the police shows up, and by mistake, right, they shoot the father of the house instead of the assailant. That's crazy, you guys. It's such a sad story, okay? And it's so crazy because I don't know if you guys have noticed, but lately, um, I hear about a lot about home invasion cases. I don't know what's going on, but it's happening, and it's not happening like in remote areas and like things that you probably never hear about. It's happening within neighborhoods, right? In condominiums, it's happening in regular neighborhoods that you have other neighbors like living nearby, right? And you will think there's no like people are no longer like concerned that they're gonna get caught in a camera, but now we see all the videos that are coming out of FedEx or like UPS delivering packages, and immediately they're not even done, right? Even Amazon, right? They're not even done putting the package on the front porch of the families. There's comes somebody out and takes the package away. That's crazy. And things like this should be alarming. I know everybody's complaining about the food prices and all of that, but talk about safety concerns, right? Talk about safety concerns that people are following delivery drivers around, okay? And they're just waiting for them, and they don't care. They don't even wait for the delivery guy to leave. They'll go and run, take it back, the package right then and there. That is so scary, you guys, okay? It is scary that lately it's become this thing about home invasions. And this case that I'm going to tell you about, it could happen to anybody because the moment we find ourselves in unfortunate situations, what do? We call for the authorities. Thanks be to God for that. It could be anything, right? And imagine you find yourself in this situation and you call for help to protect your family, and the police shows up and shoots you by mistake. I'm going to tell you exactly what happened here, but it is so crazy, you guys. Um, so it says here, cop shoots and kills a dad who called the police for help instead of the home invader. Brandon Durham, a 43-year-old father and realtor, was killed by a police officer in his Vegas home early hours of November 12th, so this past Tuesday, just under a week ago, right? Just about a week ago, excuse me, a man was shot and killed by police in Las Vegas after calling for help amid a violent home invasion. A violent home invasion, his family speaking out. In the early hours of Tuesday, November 12th, Brandon Durham called 911 and reported that two people were shooting into and attempting to break into his house, where he was with his 15-year-old daughter, according to the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department. Later in the call, Durham, 43 years old, stated that the suspect had successfully entered the residence. That must have been so scary for that father to be at home, right? In your safe place, in your comfort place, with your child, 15-year-old daughter, and you hear people are shooting at your front door, attempting to break in, and you call for help And then that is just so scary what they went through. And like I said, how shocking the turn of events about this, that when the help shows up, instead of um, shooting at the invader, they actually killed the father here. That is so scary, you guys. Okay. Following the 12:40 a.m. calls, three officers, including Alexander Bookman, 26, the officer who shot and killed Durham, arrived at the scene and immediately noticed damage to the house windows and vehicles in the driveway. After noticing physical damage as well as screaming and banging noises coming from inside the house, Bookman, the officer, kicked open the door and was the first to enter Las Vegas' home. As Bookman went deeper into the house, he saw Durham and the suspect, 31-year-old Alejandra Bordeaux. Oh, it's a woman is doing this? That's crazy. And, we don't hear a lot about women who commit crimes like this, home invasion and things like that. But it's not uncommon, but I can't believe in this case, because you would think, like a woman would be like, have a little more empathy in this case. But this says here, Alejandra Bordeaux, 31 years old, in the doorway of a bedroom where they appeared to be struggling over a knife. So they went in there with crazy intentions, because now people are no longer like robbing just for money or material things. They're robbing to create an assault and to hurt the people, the innocent victims there. That's crazy, you guys. So when the officers saw them on the floor struggling over a knife, it says here, while Durham stated in his call that two suspects had entered his home, police identified only one suspect in the incident. Bookman told the pair to drop the weapon. About 1 second later, Bookman discharged his firearm, striking Durham and causing both him and Bordeaux to fall. According to the body cam footage he shared during the conference, Bookman then shot Durham several more times as he was in the floor motionless. Oh my lord. Wow. That's crazy. And he actually shot about 6 rounds. So here's I think now we get what the confusion. Like I just told you guys, it's not common to see women committing these types of crimes, right? Right? So this is where the confusion became here for the officer. And I'm sure he's probably devastated by this whole thing. Here's the confusion. You show up to the house, you're being called that there is a home invasion. And it's a dad with his 15-year-old daughter, right? At the home. You show up and then you get to this room of the house and you see a man struggling with a woman over a knife. What do you immediately think? Who's the assailant here, right? It's nothing about, it's just like, the cop probably thought it was the daughter. You know what I mean? Like, this is what I'm getting now. I think this is where the confusion is. It's not expected for it to be, for it to be like a woman there. So maybe he thought the woman was a victim here. And that must have been so terrifying. Wow, this is a very this is another example how your life can change in any moment. So the officer, actually the assailant Alejandra, meanwhile was taken into police custody and now faces 4 charges: home invasion with a deadly weapon, assault of a deadly weapon, and domestic violence, child abuse, neglect, and endangerment, and performance of an act in willful disregard of the safety, resulting in death. Investigators believe, it says here, that Durham and Bordeaux knew each other and that the break-in was not a random act of violence. Another twist, okay? So they knew each other. He also said that the authorities are very early into the investigation of the situation, noted that despite the call, which described shooting at the scene, there was no guns recovered, just two knives. It says here, the loss of life in any type of incident like this always tragic. It says here, the daughter, 15-year-old daughter Isabella, was in the home when he heard the father call the police, stating that she is disgusted with the police after what happened. And she's saying that the violence that occurred here was under someone who was extremely angry, extremely violent. This is what the daughter said on November 14th. So about 3 days ago, she spoke to the press. And she said, police told my father after killing him to stay down, knowing and treating him like he was a suspect in the situation, and he was actually the victim, and disgusted that the police will allow me to live fatherless for the rest of my life. That's what she said, quote unquote. Yeah, it's very sad. I cannot even imagine the pain that she's going through to experience something like this. Okay. He was a realtor, a chef, and dedicated father. And let me see here. I just, I don't get. This is why, I think this is the issue that the police have a lot of concern when it comes to like the emotions that they feel, because I know that they go to training. I understand that, and they have experience and all of that stuff. But you're shooting somebody and then you continue to shoot them when you see them motionless on the floor. That's, that's crazy. It says here, somebody posted in a comment, says here that the first response training are issues here. Whatever the forensic investigation may uncover, this world-class one and a place to visit attraction, how much more reputation damage this does to a city. He was already down, somebody said. Why shoot him 5 times again, right? And he says here, why is this officer not being charged? If you read the article, clearly say that the man was motionless on the floor and the officer continued to shoot, okay? So that is just crazy. I'm trying to figure out something, because the name of this person is like the one who went and was wrestling with the knife. I wonder like who that was though, because like like I just don't get why he immediately shoot. I think there's video. I'm sorry, I am searching as I'm speaking to you guys right now. There is the body camera footage, and it says here that Brandon Durham, 43, was fighting off a female intruder. And I think, I was just confirming that, because I know sometimes, I know her name is Alexandra, but sometimes people use different names, right? Different cultures. They might use a female name for a male. But it's so weird, because I know people are leaving comments saying things like, why will he shoot if the police call him for help? Why will he shoot? Him. I think the confusion was that he saw a man fighting with a woman. I think this is where the confusion is. When they got a call, right? And they got a call saying, somebody's attempting to come into my house. And you show up and you see a guy, the dad said he's there with his 15-year-old daughter, right? And then the police arrive and they're wrestling with a knife, a man and a woman wrestling. Like, immediately you will think, the assailant is the guy. I don't agree that he was shot 5 times after he was already on the floor motionless. I don't agree that. I think this is a terrible mistake. I think there needs to be more training. Definitely more training, and maybe what do you call? There's a charge that they do, involuntary manslaughter or something for the officer. I mean, yes, there is a whole video. I'm looking at it right now, you guys. It's not for everybody to go and see, but everything was caught on camera. I mean, everything is. There's always, now these days, there's always evidence for everything. There's nothing is a secret anymore. Everybody has a camera somehow. But what I'm saying is that, which helps a lot of the times, right? What I'm saying is that this is where the confusion came, right? Perhaps the officer didn't pay enough attention to the details that the dispatch was given to him as he made his way into the house. Okay? And like I tell you guys all the time, everybody's distracted, right? And sometimes when you get details about something that you do on a daily basis, you think you hear one or two details and you already know exactly what is going on, right? And it can happen at any workforce. It doesn't necessarily mean a police officer. The only thing with that is that policemen have the authority to change people's life for, forever, right? So I think they need to have more training. I think there's a lot of adrenaline that goes into play when you're driving over there, right? You're getting yourself ready to expect what you're expecting. I mean, you're responding to active shooting, home invasion, okay? And you show up, you hear a couple details on your way there, you see a man and a woman fighting for a knife on the floor. Like, imagine that, right? I do, like I said to you guys, I know they go to training, all of that, but I think this is where the problem became. The biggest confusion became is to showing up and seeing that. So I'm looking now into the video briefly, just to kind of finish up this episode, but it's so unfortunate that this dad lost his life trying to save his family. And I just, there are a lot of things that are questionable. I think they definitely should discipline the officer, meaning some type of charge to be given to him. He obviously was very negligent, I think, he jumped to conclusion in that moment. He jumped to a conclusion that, the video is very short. He just went through. So he jumped to a conclusion and made a final decision that impacted his family forever, right? So yeah, definitely a lot more training needs to be done here, but it's almost like I kind of see a little bit why the confusion became so obvious when he showed up and saw a female wrestling with a guy for a knife, right? Female and a male wrestling for a knife, right? When you get a call like that, right? So it's a lot of how can I say? He jumped to a conclusion and he probably didn't pay enough attention to the details that were given to him as he received the call, right? And I think that's what it is. So what do we do now as the public, as the audience? Like I told you guys all the time, I love using GoFundMe to help people in need. And this family is doing GoFundMe to help support for the funeral costs of Mr. Dorham here, Brandon Dorham, 43 years old, who lost his life in this unfortunate event. So I'm going to leave the link here. If you cannot help with doing a donation to the GoFundMe campaign that the family is putting up, you can always help by praying for this family. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming back to my channel. Thank you so much for listening in the podcast. Have a good day. God bless.